Hello everyone, welcome back to another tutorial from RoadwayVR channel. My name is Ahmed and I have a PhD in transportation engineering from York University, Canada. So today I'm gonna listen about some of your comments. So I just skim over the comments in the channel and found out somebody asked about the different types of car. So if you notice and read the comments, some parts of the comments I already covered and I try to cover later on, but I take this comment as an opportunity to talk more about different types of car and how it works in SUMO. Let's get started. Okay, so I created part 5, which is vehicle types, and then this is the first sections, which is 5.1, passenger car, bicycle, and a scooter. Okay, I just noticed that some of you probably have some issues about downloading the previous versions of SUMO. For the most of the parts, you don't need to download the previous versions, but if you can simply search simulation of urban mobility and SourceForge, then you will find this website, and then here you will access to the previous versions. For example, if I go to you can observe all the versions here, 119 and everything. But usually for the most of the part we don't need. I try to upgrade the versions as I can. Okay, so without aside, let's begin the tutorial. If you observe, there are some cars that in SUMO we normally see these cars as this type of icons, which is the passenger car, bicycle, and scooters. And then the images are here if you simply go to see program files and then the directory. The reason that I am saying is sometimes you want to create a nice PowerPoint, or you want to put some of these images in your thesis probably, so you can access these images in this directory, okay, for free. And then today, most importantly, I am gonna talk about car following and lane changing model. So on the left side bottom, you can observe the car following model, which kind of captures the horizontal movements of car, and the lane changing model, which is the lateral movement. Okay, so these are two main fundamentals of the simulations and the vehicle types, of course. Okay, so here this chart is very important. Of course, I'm not gonna talk about the PowerPoint itself in this session, so I will bring the software up and then we will go through the software. So bear a little bit with me so that I can explain some of the fundamentals that you need usually. So if you observe on the bottom part, there is the following vehicle state, right, which is the red, and the leading, which is blue, right? So simulation softwares like SUMO, we replicate the driver behaviors or vehicle behaviors, right, somehow. So, and this is the diagrams, flow chart. So if you observe the top one, then you can observe that on the first, on the left side, it starts from leading vehicle state, right? And then it includes the positions, acceleration, deceleration of the car. And then on the right side, at the end is the following, right? So it's reverse of this, the flowchart. The reason is because this flowchart shows the flow of the decision-making systems and not necessarily the positions of this car, right? So the decision-making is like that. First, the following, the leading vehicle state goes through some calculations, right? And then the following vehicle state, which is mainly positions, right? So we calculate two positions plus acceleration, speed, right? and then it goes towards this first box. First large box represents the driver behavior in overall, and then the second box is vehicle characteristics, right? So as you know, like I am a driver, right? And then my behaviors impact how I can run or how can I drive the car, right? And car has some specifications like the vehicle technology, kind of braking technology, accelerations. And then these two boxes essentially are vehicle plus driver. Okay, so using these two boxes, SUMO basically controls the car following models, how much this car needs to get closer to the next car, right? And then avoid collisions or unsafe behavior. Okay, there are two feedback loop. One is from vehicle dynamics going to these drivers in overall, right? Which is again steering, again the steering, accelerations, and things like that, right? And then another feedback loop is here, which is the positions and the speed of the whole vehicles, right? Which we take into account using the leading vehicle and the following vehicle. And the reference is very important. By the way, you can take a look at this reference. If it's very small here, but if you search, you can find it out. Okay, two things then. Remember, vehicle dynamic, driver behavior. Okay, so let's start. Then let's continue the PowerPoint based on these two. Okay, okay. The first is vehicle dynamic. So vehicle dynamic, if you open SUMO, right, and then there is a car, let's say, and then there are some vehicle types. So why not we can from now on open one SUMO here, again similar to the past tutorial, create vehicle types in the download, and then here search netedit. Wonderful, and then file, new network, not new window. I just accidentally opened two. Okay, so this is a new network. I'm just waiting for it. And then here, if you go here in the demand, so we already talked about some of these icons, right? But the vehicle type, we didn't have a chance to talk. So today I'm going to talk about it. So here in the vehicle type, usually on the left side here, we have some default types, right? But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna select the crate, okay, and then name this as a, for example, passenger car, okay, or normal car, right? And then here on the left side, as you can see, there are some options, right? So if I open this edit extended attributes, then this is the key window that we want to talk about it. Okay, so here I'm gonna open the PowerPoint again, and then let's say this is a RAV4, right? Toyota, which is very popular, and then there are some width, length, and height, right? So maybe I can put this here, and then my SUMO somehow here. We cannot adjust this screen, so it's a little bit tough, but what I'm gonna do is a little bit zoom in here, right? So as you observe, there are some types of cars here, right, that we can, for example, put, let's say the first one, of course, that's a passenger car, right, the RAV4. And then what's the length? Here is 4.6, right? These are the in meter, by the way, right? And then if you are not, if you don't know, right, then just accept this and then go to the help here. It provides all the informations. Let's say someone might ask, how do you know the length is in meter? Right here, you can observe the vehicle's length is in meter, right? So again, help, it will explain all the elements here. Okay, so again, go to the edit, and then I'm gonna quickly now adjust some of this. Let's say the width is 1.8, which is fine, and then the height 1.6, right? So in this way you can adjust some of this vehicle dynamic. Remember again, again here, the vehicle dynamic, right? This box, the driver behavior, which is the perception and decision making. Okay, so we talked about the vehicle dynamic here for now, right? This is from SUMO. SUMO provides some good informations on the parameters for different types of vehicles. Let's say here, if you notice, there is a passenger car with the image, of course, right, which is very, now clear, and then some information like math, mean gap, acceleration, and etc. Right? You can search if you really, if you truly a researcher, right, and wanted to do very exact and accurate job, you can add those informations here by searching what's, for example, the accelerations of RAV4 or everything. Well, I'm not gonna do it because that's fine. I mean, we can just skip some of the parts and then put these as normal. So these are mainly based on these values, which is just the default values, right? So then I'm gonna then yeah, I can't say this is, for example, RAV4 instead of normal car, right? Which is then here there is a GUI shape, which is the shape of car that I'm gonna put kind of maybe sedan, right? Or just normal passenger. I mean, it doesn't really matter, but for some parts, if it's van, right, you can change the shape to this, right? But I mean, that's enough, I think. And then there are some other parameters here. So this part that you can observe in the PowerPoints is about the vehicle characteristics or type. Okay. Then we will move on to the next part, which is perception and decision making parameters. So the default values for this is a cross model. So if you open this car following models, I mean, someone might ask, how did you get these links? You can just search, it's very easy. Let's say just car following model in SUMO, right? And then it will bring, these pages, and then you can start a little bit reading some of the informations here, and then just select that one, and then it will bring this car following model parameter, the same pages that I have, right? Same thing for this one. Just search it vehicle type parameters defaults, right? In SUMO. They have also a search bar here. So there are parameters here. Again, there are a couple of informations. So, but the important part is here, this car following model attributes. So there are some algorithms. If you are familiar with other softwares like PTV Vizim, they are using this Vidman, which is the other car following model, right? I can change it, the parameters will change, right? But I'm gonna put it as a default. And then there are acceleration, decelerations, and then everything here. You can come here and then see what's the default value again, right? And then accept. So there are some informations here again, right? The reason that I am saying this because people or researchers usually don't know about these things, right? And then let's say when we want to change it to the bicycles, right, in the next, or you want to change it to the electric car or autonomous car, right? You need to change and play with these parameters, right? You cannot just put it as a default value. So these are the equations of car following models. There are 4 parts, and this is for cross model. And then there is a safe speed first calculations, right? And then there is a desired speed calculations, and then there is a final speed. Okay, so you can take a look at this. I'm not going to spend much time on it, but as you can see, there are a lot of parameters, right, needs to be calibrated that you normally put the default, especially if you're just doing some normal simulations. I mean, you are not doing autonomous vehicles simulation, you are not an electric vehicle, you are not doing, for example, a bicycle or scooters, right? Again, same thing, lane changing model. You remember I talked about car following model and lane changing, right? This is the lane changing. The structure is the same. Again, we have a vehicle dynamic, right? We have a driver behaviors, right? And same thing, there are 2 loops and everything. The difference is in the lane changing cars wants to decide when it should change the lane, right? Then all the surrounding cars are important, not just the leading car, right? So the surrounding cars are here, and then the leading, the following cars here, or lane changing vehicle per se. And then there are two, again, feedback loop, again, two boxes, vehicle dynamics or characteristics, and then this is the driver, okay? Again, the vehicles is of course the same for lane changing as well, right? But lane changing is more complex than the car following model. So if I just open again, this is a car following model. So see how many parameters is just, few. But lane changing has a lot of parameters, right? Because there are surrounding cars as well, right? And then it's complex, right? So then again, these parameters here, let's say strategic or cooperative, right? So strategic is the eagerness of the subject car to perform the lane changing. Higher value means earlier lane changing, right? Someone might ask, who cares about these things? But as you design your simulations, right? And then sometimes you feel that there are some issues in your simulation. There are some traffics somewhere, right? Then you need to come and then play a little bit with this, right? Let's say there is, for example, two intersections very close to each other, right? And then the drivers usually they want to uh, to do late, for example, lane changing, right? Because it's very busy, right? So then you need to play with these parameters, right? And then so forth, so on. I mean, I will cover some of these later on in the tutorials, the issues, I mean. So then again, you can read about these parameters in the same uh, page, but in lane changing. So this is car following. If you go down, then there is a lane changing. You can observe some of this, right? So I'm just moving on. Okay, so this is a very important document, which normally we use it. I mean, I am in Canada, but normally the initial transportation guidelines coming from some countries, right? Like in Europe, Germany, or Netherlands, or US. Okay, so so this is from FHWA in US, and then it explains 7 steps for the micro simulations design, and then it highlights in the data collections that you require to also calibrate this and this. So it's worthwhile in your paper, in your thesis, talk a little bit about these things, and you don't need to play much, but at least talk about it, because it shows that you have you are a simulation expert, right? So then just remind about these two parameters, which is in that chart, the car following model and lane changing model chart, okay? And then also you can just read, it's not a long document, just read it and then you will observe. So there is also another part here, junction model. So in SUMO, junctions, which is the intersections mainly, the behaviors of car are different a little bit, right? So they have a couple of other parameters, as you can see here. So then they use some models for it, and then this is a document that you can just search and go through it. But I'm gonna just skip this part. I mean, this is just an additional part, and these are some references. And then there is also bicycle parameters as well. So if you go to the same vehicle type parameter, the default here, there is a bicycles parameter, and then as you can see, the mean gap is 0.5, for example, but for the car is 2.5, right? So this mean gap is basically the distance, right, between. So let me just show you here. So the mean gap is the distance between these front vehicles car to the to the back of this car, right, the rear of this car, which is this distance is 2.5 for doing or initiating the basically car following or lane changing model, right? So without aside, there are a couple of other things here, motorcycles, and then you can create, right? And these are the parameters that for the bicycle itself, right? Bicycle is not similar to the vehicles, right? So let's say the accelerations, the technology, everything is different there. I mean, there is no technology much, but still, yeah, there are some parameters. And yes, these are some where that you need to change the parameters, and the scooters is the same. Okay, so I'm gonna just now uh, open the netedit again, and then I added a passenger car for now here, right? And then I can change the colors to something like, for example, black. It doesn't change anything here, right? But uh, and then as you can see, the RAV4 is there, right? So the funny point about the SUMO is first you need to select the create type and then create your vehicles. I mean, in the other software is usually we design or manipulate this parameter and then click on the create type, it will create you, right? But it's the other way around here. So the way that we need to apply these changes is just by saving now. Okay, so we need to save this again. There are some saving icons here, so make sure that you save it in the proper folders. Okay, and then I'm gonna just call it as a vehicle type. Okay, and then this one. Okay, even I need to I think I need to type it again. It's okay, yeah. Fortunately, it doesn't work. Okay, so then now we have a bunch of files here, right? And then if I, let's say, open this SUMO and then this one, right? And you observe that we added RAV4. The length is this one, the GUI shape is this, and then the color is this one, right? So, I mean, in the same way, I can create other cars. Okay, so let's say I'm gonna create a van, and then the vehicle types here. These are some default functions, by the way, that you can also select by defaults. Let's say there is no any maybe van here, right? So this HO, yeah. So this is a van, right? And then I can change a little bit of these parameters, right? And then I can change also the shape to this one, and then the colors to something like that, right? And then maybe I am just changing this to 6 meters, right? And then yeah, so again, save. When you save it, okay, it will apply the changes in the root file, right? Which is the van is added already. So now let's create a simple network. So go to the network and then select on this mode for creating page. And then here, before clicking, maybe I press escape, right? And then I'm just changing this number of lanes to 4 maybe. So it will create 4 lanes for me, okay? And then select all the lanes. I'm gonna add a, okay, so I'm gonna add a reverse, maybe directions as well here. So then go to the demand and then the vehicle types and go to the flow, right? Because we want to add some traffic volumes. And then there is a van, let's say here, right? And then I'm gonna add, put everything as is, the ID and everything, right? And then finish for now. So, and there is another one, which is the RAV4, for example, right? And then the RAV4 is here. If you see these two cars are on top of each other, right? So just select this in the demand, this the row vehicles speeding lane, and then those are like here. So the problem is, yeah, so the problem is these two cars are kind of, we cannot see it, right? It's black maybe. So if I change it from here, right, I can change these colors maybe to something like red, or because the background the background is black, the roads, so the car should not be black, right? So again, I can save, try to put the same name for everything for the consistency. And then one more thing is, if you select this type distribution, because here I added one vehicle and another vehicle, right? But if you go to this distribution, you can here define a distribution. Let's say I'm putting this normally, for example, uh, the vehicle distribution on a highway might be different from a rural road, right? So sometimes, for example, the truck and trailers, the city doesn't allow those drive on the urban roadway, right? So let's say I'm putting here ID as urban, right? And then here the distributions can be RAV4 and the van, right? And then everything that you want. I mean, it doesn't necessarily. And then go here in the vehicle types. Now, if you search, we should observe. So let's go to the, let me see. Yeah, I have already this one, right? And then which includes two vehicle types, right? And then but we don't have it here. Maybe here we need to create the new first, right? And then go here. This is flow, and then okay, it doesn't show here for some reasons, but let's do it in this way. Select one of these and then go here, and then now change it to urban. So you see how you need to play around sometimes in SUMO. That's how engineers do the work, right? Make things, you know, and it's not necessarily very straightforward, right? So then you got how to change the vehicle types, right? So you need to create something like a vehicle, then select it, then change it from here, right? Okay, so now this car would have two types if you run it, and then it's not just this red car, okay? It would have these two cars, and then the distributions is like this. This is 0.5, and this is the probability of generating this car is 0.5 and 10.5, right? So then let's also add scooters. For that, go to the vehicle types again, and here again I mean, it has already scooters, a bicycle, right? So let's say first do it for the bicycle. So this is the bicycle, right? Now instead of me to changing this default, I'm gonna just change the default parameters of I'm not gonna create it, okay? So then go to this edit, and then if you remember here, I have already provided you some there's that you need to only change. This crossing gap should be 4 instead of 10, right? Then these are coming again from the SUMO, but you may need to do some literature reviews, you know, taking the average value or things like that, or just simply rely on this 0.5, and then turn align distance is 20, turn align distance, right? And then the last one, and then okay, the car following model is not cross, is IDM. Okay, it's totally different car following model. I mean, bicycles, scooters are same behaviors as cars usually, so that's why we are just having, I mean, car following models, but different things, right? And then press OK, and then let's just do it for scooters very quickly as well. So let's save this because we changed it something, right? And then let's create here for scooter, and then go to the edit. I can change the V class to scooter, right? Then go to the edit, and here you might also change some of these functions here again. For this also, the max speed is 0.5, 0.6. Then this is crossing gap is 4. Turn align is 20. This is 0.5. And then the model is IDM. I mean, it's same as bicycle, okay? But when you actually ride the scooter, it's very different, right? Okay. Okay. So without a side, I can simply save everything. And now I'm gonna add a bicycle and a scooter lane. Scooters are usually running everywhere, but I mean they should be on the bicycle for the most of the municipality and part, but some cities they allow on the sidewalk and everywhere, right? But that doesn't really matter for us. Go to the network, and then here select the network, and then this one. Okay, what's the name? Whether clicking, there is no name for it, but I mean it just select the lane instead of the whole, you know, road. And then here you can maybe we can, yeah, duplicate this lane. Okay, so I think I don't need to select this one, just select the magnifier. And then here let's see, okay, these two cars are here, right? So we need to change these two cars, the locations from the first lane to the second lane. How? Here. So instead of 0, put 1. So it goes here. Instead of 0, put 2, let's say, right? I mean, they said that the letter first, which is this one, but first means 0. Okay, if you put 0, then it will go to the first lane. Okay, because the characters, I mean, yeah, those are, I mean, something that I hope SUMO will fix these issues, you know, later on. But now I'm gonna just change this, go to the network, and then select this lane, and then here there is a options here, allow, select this one, and then first disallow all vehicles, and now I am putting just bicycle. Okay, it changes, you know, to this nice color things, right? And then if you want to add also the scooters, then you need to also click on the scooters, so it will change to gray color. Okay, very creative. So then select on the demand, then this car, but here I need to this time put the scooters. Okay, so I'm gonna same thing, I mean it's put the scooters. So scooters normally should not go there, right? So that's why we should do one more steps here, which is selecting I mean these lanes. So you should not allow scooters and the bicycles, right? You should do it for, okay, I cannot do it, I think for, yeah, I just select 3 lanes. Yeah, okay, that's intuitive, right? So then so right now if I go to the demand and then see if it allows the scooters there, yeah, it shows there, but I think it won't, right? And I change it to the first, which is the 0, right? Or the first, I mean, that's fine. So it add these little scooters here. Okay, so maybe I can add another, this just duplicate this lane. Now we have 2 lanes for the scooters and the bicycle, and then I'm gonna add the bicycles. Okay, these 2 cars should not be here. Okay, so I need to change. You need to take care of these things because, okay, so, and then I'm gonna add the bicycle here, right? For the bicycle, we are just using the default bike, but we changed something there, if you remember, right? And then the departure lane is 1, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is how they name these lanes, right? And then putting here, and then the bicycle is here, right? And then I'm gonna save, and then go to the edit, open SUMO. But before that, I can go to the SUMO option, and then just change some things here. So for examples, if you go to the time and then the step length, I'm just changing to 0.05 because it will create more smooth movements of, and the lateral resolutions I'm going to change it to, let's say this is how can I explain? This is, I explained it in another video, but it's basically the way that the vehicles, the lane changing behaviors is smooth. Okay, you can just play around and then observe these things. Then go to the edit, then here. Okay, and then I'm changing to real world. I really like real world. I change this delay now. So now you observe that how this, okay. So and then, I mean, you can play around with, I mean, the bicycle lanes normally is, you know, is not that much big, so you can change it later on, but this is how it works. Okay, thank you very much. It is very long video, but yeah, that's we achieved the goal. Thank you very much for watching this tutorial.